This is a stimulus check update for October 21st. We have a lot of important news to cover. Nancy Pelosi walks back on her artificial deadline and has continued to have scheduled conversations with Steve Mnuchin to try to pass a stimulus before the election. President Trump said he wants a bigger than $2.2 trillion stimulus package, and there was a vote yesterday in the Senate to pass more stimulus, but it did not receive enough votes to pass. I'll give you all the details on that in this video. Before we get started, quick reminder, Webull is now giving 3 free stocks instead of 2, and I'm giving more cash to my subscribers. More details on that down in the description below. A new poll just came out saying that voters want the Senate to prioritize coronavirus relief over the Supreme Court vacancy. So it said 66% of US voters want a stimulus package, 34% said they want the filling of the Supreme Court vacancy. I think this is very telling here. We have millions of Americans who are starving, losing their homes. Meanwhile, we have politicians with 6-figure salaries, million-dollar net worths. I think it just shows the disconnect between the politicians and the American people that they're supposed to be helping. Let me know down in the comments below, should we have a priority for the Supreme Court vacancy or for a stimulus package to be passed? I would love to know your thoughts. So Nancy Pelosi walks back on the Tuesday deadline, which was yesterday, for a stimulus package to be passed in order for us to have stimulus before the election. So what she said is, it isn't that this day is the day we would have a deal. It's a day when we would have our terms on the table to be able to go to the next step. So did we have the terms on the table to go to the next step? No, we did not. So they were supposed to have something done yesterday, Tuesday afternoon. It didn't seem like it moving into the Tuesday, and nothing was done. More specifically, what we hear from her spokesperson, the Speaker and Secretary Mnuchin spoke at 3 p.m. yesterday for approximately 45 minutes. Their conversation provided more clarity and common ground as they move closer to an agreement. Today's deadline enabled the Speaker and Secretary to see that decisions could be reached and language could be exchanged, demonstrating that both sides are serious about finding compromise. On several open questions, the Speaker and Secretary called for committee chairs to work to resolve differences about funding levels and language. With this guidance, the two principals will continue their discussions tomorrow afternoon upon the Secretary's return. So Steve Mnuchin is still in the Middle East, but it seems we're kind of like in Groundhog Day here. Every day we're being told progress is made, but yet nothing is getting done. I think the American people are tired of hearing the same thing, and we just want something done already. Mark Meadows weighs in on the situation, and he says, I would think that those discussions hopefully would make progress again tomorrow and perhaps the following day. And he said that he hopes to see some kind of agreement before the weekend. So that gives us about 2 or 3 days before the weekend, before Mark Meadows is saying that we may see an agreement. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. We're being told that progress is constantly being made, language is being discussed, more things are being agreed upon, but yet no deal is made yet. Nancy Pelosi wrote a letter to the Democrats last night saying that the conversation provided more clarity and common ground as we move closer to an agreement, and that the House committee chairs are there to resolve differences about funding levels and language. So I really wish that there was more accountability for these conversations. They're speaking about an hour a day, but yet we don't know what they're talking about. They really should publicize these conversations so we know exactly what they're saying. Senate Republican Richard Shelby weighs in on this. He says, you never know what's going to happen around here at the last minute, but it's getting to be toward the last minute and the clock keeps ticking away. I'm not optimistic about doing anything. So Nancy Pelosi said that if a deal is not made before yesterday, which was the 48-hour deadline, then we would not receive stimulus before election. But they're continuing to have conversations on a daily basis. So if they're continuing to have conversations, but yet we're not going to have stimulus before election, what's the point of the conversations? It's very confusing. So moving on, President Trump says that he wants a bigger coronavirus stimulus package, bigger than the $2.2 trillion stimulus package. So he was on Fox and Friends yesterday, and he said, let me just explain. I want to do it even bigger than the Democrats. Not every Republican agrees, but they will. So with this statement right here, I don't think the Republicans will agree because their actions are speaking otherwise. Moving on, I want to do it even bigger because this is money going to the people who did not deserve what happened to them. I would rather go bigger than the number, but we'll see. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to do anything until after the election because she thinks it helps her. I actually think it helps us because everyone knows she's the one who's breaking up the deal. So Nancy Pelosi wants a big deal. President Trump wants a big deal. What is the holdup here? Well, it's the Senate Republicans. Mitch McConnell and the Senate Republicans signal that they don't want a bigger COVID relief bill before election. This was said just yesterday. So there was a closed door meeting, supposedly, that Mitch McConnell had with his fellow Republicans, and he said that he was encouraging the White House to wait until the November 3rd election before they could reach an agreement. Mitch McConnell said that Republican senators facing re-election should go home to campaign and then come back for Monday's full Senate vote to confirm the Supreme Court nomination of Amy Barrett. So basically saying that behind closed doors, hey, let's not pass a stimulus, let's forget about that, just go home and campaign. But then publicly later on, he then says, if such a deal were to clear the House, so this is in reference to the big stimulus package that President Trump and Nancy Pelosi are negotiating. If such a deal were to clear the House, obviously with a presidential signature or promise, we would put it on the Senate floor. We'd put it on the floor of the Senate and let the Senate consider it. Now he's saying that if you guys were to take any action and actually come to an agreement, then we would have a vote on the Senate. Now we all know what would happen if it went to the Senate Republicans would vote against it. So we're in this weird position here where President Trump, the White House, Nancy Pelosi, they want stimulus, but yet the Senate Republicans are saying, yeah, go for it, make an agreement, and then the Senate Republicans will vote against it. Mitch McConnell then later on had a vote for the PPP stimulus bill, and it got voted down by the Democrats. So it was a 40-57 vote result, and there were actually 3 Democrats who voted with the Republicans. So this was a vote to get $258 billion back towards the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program for small businesses. It was voted against. Mitch McConnell said, I'll let you in on a secret. There's something senators do when we want something to pass. We vote for it. He then said, it's no counter argument to complain that PPP legislation does not also contain 100 other things. The entire point is to agree where we can, and we make law while we keep arguing over the rest. So Mitch McConnell wanted to pass this PPP, but it was voted against because it doesn't have other things in it. Let me know down in the comments below, should they have passed the PPP and then focus on other stimulus matters later to help out the small businesses, or should it just be one big package as it's being negotiated between the White House and Nancy Pelosi? Let me know down in the comments below. I got a comment from Sandra Comstock. Don't believe we will get any help from our government at all. Vote everyone out. I'm sick of these so-called people. They all act like children. Really sad. Thanks for all your time you put into researching for us. So I agree. The way the politicians are acting is extra strange, extra childish because of the elections coming up. So unfortunately, we can't vote out the Senate. A lot of them are not up for re-election. So moving on to COVID news, it seems that Europe is having a really hard time with the second wave of the coronavirus. There's new lockdowns, curfews. They're just really spiking. If we remember with the first wave, Europe got hit first, then it came to the US. Not saying that's going to happen, but things may get a lot worse. And that's all the stimulus news I have for you today. To cheer up your mood, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Oh, sorry guys, I didn't see that. Can I tell you something? What I want to do is go to the moon. I need to go to the moon. Never mind. What do you want? Tell me in the comments below and see what you want. If you want to do something, then do a accomplishment. Do what you want, because that after you get too old to not do what you want. Oh, bye. The moon, bye.
If you were wondering what is the best method to use for your payments, credit card, debit card, cash, I have a video right over here that talks about the pros and cons between using credit cards, debit cards, cash. It's on my Wise Cents channel, which is a personal finance, and I give wise money tips to build a wealthy future. So I recommend clicking that video right now, and you can learn the difference between all three options. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.